everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to a roundup where I'm talking about 7 kids games. Some quick overviews and talking about games that are definitely geared for children. I'm going to be talking about these in no particular order. Well, I guess the order is from the smallest to the largest, but whether they're good or not, let's find out. So first we're going to take a look at this one here, which is called Difference Junior. Have you ever played one of those magazine games where you're trying to figure out the difference between pictures? That's what this is. For a game, players are going to choose one of 4 different pictures. There are 2 decks of 25 cards each with pictures on them from most difficult picture to the easiest picture. So whatever picture you pick, let's say we pick this picture, you're going to take the cards, shuffle them, and deal them out equally to all the players. There will be 1 card that's placed in the middle of the table, and each player will have a deck of cards in front of them. And when you say go, everyone turns over the card and you're looking for the 2 differences between your card and the card in the middle. Now every card is the same picture and it has 1 difference. So this one essentially is missing the arrow here, and this one has a giraffe red nose. So that's the 2 differences. Arrow missing, giraffe red nose. If I say that, then I get the card in the middle. My card becomes the new card in the middle. I flip over a new one and we do it again. We keep going till all the cards are gone, or whoever gets rid of all their cards first is the winner of the game. So the game sounds pretty simple. I mean, it is. You're looking for 2 differences. There's one weird thing I don't know that kids will catch, but adults might catch, is that the change that's on your card that you call out and you put in the middle, well, that's the same change. So when you're really only looking for one thing, you're looking for the thing on your card that's different. I don't know how fast kids will latch on to figuring that concept out, but it is a lot of fun, and you can replay these over and over. Even if you know the differences, you're still looking for them as often as you can. For kids, younger kids especially, this says 4 to 7 years. I would go a little higher than that maybe with age range, but I think this one is a lot of fun. Difference Junior, I'd give this a 7 for kids. Then we have Archimedes. This is a math game. Now math games sound inherently unfun. Let's find out though. In this game, players are trying to get points by getting rid of all the cards in their hand. You're going to have numbered cards in your hand that show various famous mathematicians, including the designer of the game, Archimedes, that go from 1 to 15. So on your turn, you can get rid of 2 cards from your hand as long as you can make a valid equation with them. You could even get rid of 1. You could say 4 equals 4, and you're done. This card would then come over here. However, you could do things like maybe 4 plus 1 equals 11 if I have the 1 and the 11 in my hand. So now 11 becomes the top card here, and you can use plus, minus, and divide and multiply, although division and multiplying won't be used much in the game because the numbers only go to 15. If you can't play cards and discard them, then you'll draw one. The first person to get rid of their cards is going to get a point card based on the number of players in the game. So if you're playing with 5 players, you get 5 points. Second person to get rid of their card gets the next number, and you play a couple rounds, and whoever has the most points is the winner. I like the nod to the famous mathematicians. I like the art in this game. I even like the fact that the game teaches math. I'm a big fan of that. However, honestly, there's just not much more beyond that. You just get lucky. You obviously can see the equations. This is for younger kids for sure, but I don't feel like there's enough cool factors there. Could you use 2-digit numbers to say 2 times 8 is a 1 and a 6? That might be a little more interesting. As it is, it's an interesting exercise. I don't think I would buy it. Just a 6 out of 10. Okay, now we have Photophantom, the young detective and the shy ghost. This is a quick speed style game. So some people don't like them, but let's check this one out. The components for this game are a deck of cards, and you have the young detective and the shy ghost. You're going to turn over a card, and everyone's going to look at that card, and you're going to see if the card is correct or not. If the card is correct, you grab the young detective. If the card is incorrect, you'll grab the ghost. If you are correct, you'll get this. If you are incorrect, you have to give a card to the person who is correct. Well, so what do I mean by being correct? Well, you're going to look at the color of the next card and compare it. So here, if the card is blue, so you can look at all the blue numbers here and see if they add up to 9. 1 plus 2 is 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. They do. This one is correct. So there are various number ones in the game. And I have them all shuffled together. This one here is, what's the difference? So you look at the top one here, yellow. Is the yellow the same as the black one in the middle? Yes or no? This next one here, you're going to look at the animal or whatever object's in the middle Do the letters spell out the name of this animal? That's a cat. So this does not spell cat. I don't know what it spells. It's C-H-T-N-E. Here we have a picture of a sword, a key, a ghost. So these are the different things that are going to be in here. There's one more. Let's see if we can find one. You'll have a picture. I'm looking at the red. Do these shapes make that picture? Yes or no? You'll play the game until you go through the entire deck, and then whoever has the most cards is the winner. I really found this one to be a lot of fun. One small caveat, there's a card in the game that shows a picture of a trunk. Most kids today don't know what the word trunk means. Every kid I ran across thought it meant chest, like a treasure chest. But other than that, the fact that there's 4 different things going on, spelling, spotting the difference, constructing in your mind, counting, a lot of different skills are used, and it just is fun. It's different. It doesn't last, overstay its welcome. I enjoyed this one. For kids, it's an 8 out of 10. Okay, then we have One Too Many Rabbits. We're back to math. Everyone's going to start with these cards in their hand, which is 1 through 12. You also have a wild and a plus or minus. The rest of the cards are going to be placed in a face-down deck that players can draw from throughout the course of the game. On your turn, you decide you want to roll 1, 2, or 3 dice. You roll those dice, and you can add them together or subtract. So you can add them together or use them separately. So with this, I could get rid of my 1, my 3, and my 5 card. Or I could get rid of my 8 and my 1, or my 6 and my 3, or my 4 and my 5, or I could add them all together and get rid of the 9. So let's pretend I do that. So I get rid of the 9. On my next turn, I'll roll them again. Now I have 4 plus 5 plus 4 is 13. So I would get rid of the 8 and the 5. And if you want to, you can always use a wild as any number. A plus or minus, you can spend this to add or subtract your cards together. I could say 12 minus 7 equals 5 and get rid of the cards that way. So you have 1 wild, 1 plus or minus. If you can't use a die to get rid of a number, then you'll have to draw a card and add that to your hand. And you're going to have all sorts of number cards in here, more wilds. You'll have piggyback, which lets you play a card on someone else's turn. And you also have a place your rabbits, where everyone bets a card. You roll 2 dice, and whoever's card it matches gets rid of that card. Everyone else draws one. When one person has all their cards gone from their hand, they're the winner. Now, the artwork in this game is lots of fun, and rolling dice is silly. But I worry that the game is done for kids, and there's a couple problems with it. One, the idea of rolling dice means the game is, if you have the 12, get rid of the 12. Because you need multiple dice to get rid of the 12. It's a hard number to roll. And so at the end, when you're trying to get rid of just a few cards from your hand, you want to roll fewer dice. Because if you roll fewer dice, you'll draw fewer cards in your hand. But if you roll more dice, you have a chance to get rid of cards. So it's kind of a conundrum that I don't know that works really well for kids. This game has a tendency to go on forever and ever and ever. It can end, and you can get rid of all your cards, but to just roll and, oh, I missed, now I draw cards in my hand, now I get rid of those cards. Now I draw cards in my hand. You're eventually just trying to get a couple wilds that you can play to get done at the end. And because of that, I just don't see that it's that great. It's okay for kids. I think they'll get some amusement out of it, but I'd give this one, again, a 6 out of 10. Okay, next we have Sheep Hop. Sheep Hop, the wolves are on the prowl. This is a cooperative game where you're working together to stop wolves from eating sheep. Here's how it plays. In Sheep Hop, the box itself, a magnetic clasp box, opens into the board, and you can put this box on top, but it's kind of hard to see for kids, so I just play without it. You're going to have 2 wolves that you'll just pick for random spots on this track. And then players are going to be randomly placing sheep of different colors here around this spot on the board. And your goal is to get more sheep into the sheep pen than sheep that get eaten. As long as you have more, you win. So on your turn, players are going to roll a die. And it's going to show them one of the possible colors of sheep, or this one wild, and you can move any sheep you want. However, if I rolled purple, for example, you can jump over sheep. So that's a legal move. So they're kind of like checkers. I could do this. If you roll a wolf, though, there's 2 different wolf sides. One of them moves the big wolf twice, who just moves like this. The other one moves each wolf once. So it'd move the small wolf. Sorry, the small wolf moves that way, 1 and 1. If a wolf ever moves into a sheep, they're caught and eaten. Otherwise, if a sheep gets over here and goes out this door, then they're free. So you see, you'll have to walk through these wolf spaces to go into the pen. Once all the sheep are gone, you see if you have more here than here to see if you've won. There are other tiles that you can add that provide positive and negative benefits, like holes to jump in between, obstacles you can't go through, and more. Sheep Hop is a cooperative game that I think will work really well for younger kids. You're working together, you're moving it, they'll figure out pretty quickly, hey, the big wolf moves much faster than the small one. There's a little bit of risk management. We have to make it run through the wolf's path. Which one do you do? After a while, you figure out it's way better to move them on the small wolf side to the end. And then it even gives you a score on how many sheep you save. But you know what? At the end, it kind of comes down to the rolls of the die. Sometimes you just roll badly. You move on the wolf track, you're like, he's 5 spaces away. And then you just roll the wolf several times in a row. But that being said, I have seen it work really well with kids, and I think they'll enjoy it. They won't mind that bit of luck. So this is a pretty solid, container and case, especially for younger kids. I'd give it an 8 for children. Then we have Zoo Rendezvous, which is basically a puzzle-style game in which you're trying to get all the animals out of the zoo. Here's how it plays. In this game, you're going to have puzzles that go from 1 to 60. So you have 60 puzzles. You'll draw the card, put it on this nice little stand that they have, and put the animals out here. You're always going to be using the same 16 animals. So to play this game, you just move an animal out, and then you can move an animal that is at the front of one of these rows that's the same color or shape. So obviously moving the orange line out is a bad opening move. But perhaps I would move out the green rhino. Well, I can't move him, I can't move him, I can't move him, but I can move the blue rhino, which now allows me to move the blue alligator, which now allows me to move the green alligator, which now allows me to move the green lion, which now lets me move the orange lion, which lets me move the orange rhino, which lets me move the purple rhino, which lets me move this, which lets me move this, which lets me move the lion, which lets me move this, and now I'm stuck. But it's really easy to set it back up. The book here has all the answers near the end where they tell you how to get each one out, and that's how you play. This sort of puzzle reminds me of a lot of the different puzzles that Think Fun and other companies make. The wooden pieces are really nice, and this is a good puzzle for younger children. It says 8+ on here, but you could even teach younger kids than that. So the puzzle is essentially in a brute force as you try to solve it, and it says very specific order. After a while, you're like, oh, we can't do it. And then you can actually put the pieces back in place. It's easy to kind of undo your move to go back. The challenges do get a little tricky for sure as time goes by. You saw that one I did very quickly, and I already messed up on that. But if I thought about it, I could get through it. But I said, again, for kids, I think this one works really well. I like this a lot. This is an 8.5 for kids. Then we have Crafty Puggles. This is a game about digging tunnels out. I was very excited when I saw the back of the box. Let's look at this game. Each player is going to have a quadrant of the board, and the goal is to take tiles and build a pathway, a tunnel, that's going to allow you to get from your entrance to the treasure in the middle. You do that by rolling 2 dice on your turn. If you roll this green one here, you'll place a tile. This one says 1/4. That means there's a tunnel on 1/4 of the side. So you'll place it somewhere on your board or on someone else's. If you roll the red one, you can rotate any tile on the board. You also get to bank one of these tiles. You have a spot to put banked tiles over here on the side. And if you roll the dog, you're going to place a dog token on the board that will block other players as they're playing the game. They cannot go through until they move the dog. And if you roll the diamond, you get to move 1 space over here on their power track. If you move, you can also discard 3 banked tiles to do that also. When you get to the end, you have various options. You can remove a tile from anywhere on the board, rotate a tile anywhere on the board, move the hound anywhere, place one of your banked tiles on the board, or play a power card, which means you take this card deck, oh, there's the dog, by the way, turn over the top one, and opponent loses their Puggle boost, exchange a tile with opponent, opponents return their banked tiles, move a tile, things like that. And that's how you play. Unfortunately, Crafty Puggles has a lot of problems, and I don't really enjoy this game. The idea of building a tunnel with the tiles and rolling dice to do things, I don't have a problem with that. I think making that tunnel is neat. It's interesting to put the different fractions, but the die rolls are super lucky. Banking a tile is fine, but banking a tile is a weird thing for kids to understand. Eventually you get 3 banked tiles. What do? Discard them to move 1 on that power track. That's kind of a weird thing. And yes, you can place 1 if you get to the end of the power track, but then there's so much take that. Put the dog in your opponent's. Put the dog over here. Move the dog over here. You saw those cards. Make your opponents lose stuff. Discard, remove a tile anywhere on the board. And then you're trying to build a tunnel and you just keep rolling 1/4, which does not let you build a tunnel at all. There's just too much chaos and nastiness for me to really promote this one for kids. I just didn't see that they enjoyed it at all. This one is a 4 out of 10. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching these short reviews of the bunch of kids games from all over the world. I hope you enjoy it. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.